Well, hello there. You're probably wondering who I am and what I want, but that's not important right now. I am Tyler Jones, by the way. Through this next segment, I'm going to take you through a series of interviews where we caught up with Wrenn, also caught up with Austin Reed, and Coach Spav. And in these interviews, you're going to find out some of the injuries that's happened to the Broken Arrow football team this past year and what the Broken Arrow program is doing to help these guys recover and get back in good position. Injuries have become a big deal. As many of you know, the NFL has taken a huge stand on helping out with injuries, in particular concussions. And so now you get to see what Broken Arrow is doing to help out this cause and get these players healthy and ready to play. Cameron, over time you've experienced quite some injuries over the years you've played and stuff. What are some of the injuries you've faced over the past couple of years?
Last year I had a foot injury. It's actually on my left ankle, pretty much where my toe area. And it's a pretty strainful injury. I had it throughout the playoffs and through the state championship game. And then this year I actually got injured, my right foot this time, but it was during the Union game about fourth quarter. And I kind of strained it around this area right here, but just gave me about 2 weeks and I'm back on the field this week.
So Austin, first off, tell us about your injury, exactly what happened against Muskogee.
I was going on a post route and I was going through the middle and the pass was overthrown. I tried to catch it and after the ball was gone, I got blindsided by the backside safety. And what happened to me was I tore some muscles in my back and my trap and my collarbone was out of place. That's basically what happened.
And what were you thinking after all this happened and stuff? And what were the thoughts going through your head as all this was going on?
I was just wondering when I can get back on the field as soon as possible.
A lot of our injuries have been a lot of breaks, sprained ankles, things of that nature. We had a lot of concussions, and so we're just really struggling as far as what we're putting on the field, because of every week we have a different 11 out there in the field every week. So it makes it real difficult to have that consistency that we need. But the injuries are a tremendous factor. We're seeing an increase in concussions, which as coaches now we have to evaluate what we do as far as training and things. But we put all of our young athletes into an impact test, and this allows us to evaluate and take care of them. So, because more importantly, when we have these, it's the athlete that comes first, and we have to make sure they're healthy and along the ways when they come back with these concussion injuries. So, we're having a lot of ankles and a lot of broken bones, and we have some MCL injuries that are at least 2 to 4 week type injuries, but it affects our playing time and our improvement along the ways, which we need.
Now, these guys, what you've had to do is go to the next guy, next man up mentality is what's had to happen with these injuries and stuff. What about these players stepping up and having to take place for injured guys? What's their impact been like as far as being ready to step in?
Well, their impact has been tremendous. I just basically have a rule. I just really don't acknowledge the injuries. It's just something that happens in the game of football. So what we do is we just have the next guy steps up, and they're doing a wonderful job. But just really the biggest factor is not the fact that they can't do it. The biggest factor is just the consistency of having the same people on the field each week, and it really takes a toll on your offense, your defense, and especially your special teams. But we have no problem with the kids stepping up. We have great athletes here. We have great kids here, and we have kids stepping up left and right and just doing a tremendous job for us. And obviously that's the nature of the game. It just seems this year that we're kind of snake bit on the injury toll. We're having a lot more than we've ever had in the past.
Yeah. The next thing I want to ask you about is the long-term effect. You mentioned there's been more concussions. We've seen, as far as the NFL goes, Roger Goodell, he's taken more of a stance on concussions, and that because there's so many of them now compared to what there used to be. Long-term, how concerned are you about these guys' impact, what it's going to be for long-term, for down the road with concussions and injuries and stuff? What's the concern for these guys as they move on after football?
We're always concerned about that, and that's why we put every athlete in an impact concussion test. And it's expensive. We pay for it. We do it, and we want our athletes to be able to have a judgment, or have a baseline to when something does happen. We have a measuring tool for them with their concussions. Obviously, the main concern that we have always is with our athlete. Our athletes don't have decisions, and even the coaches don't have decisions on the return of our athletes, because we rely on our medical staff to do that, which is very important. More importantly, this is just a game, and we need to understand that there's a life with these individuals, and we don't want it to be affected in any way. So we take it very serious as far as the concussions are concerned, and the injuries, and our medical staff is the ones that get them back, and they do a wonderful job for us in evaluating, rehabbing, and getting our athletes back in plenty of time. But we are truly, really concerned about the future of our athletes, because that is our main concern, and that's why we spend the money for these impact tests, and to take care of, and have a medical staff to take care of them, and to evaluate them, and leave it out of the coach's hands and put it into the medical staff hands that actually know how to deal with athletic injuries, and it makes it a lot nicer and a lot easier for us and for our athletes in the future.
Now, the last thing I want to ask you about here is a couple of weeks ago, we were most of us were all there when Austin Reed had his incident when the ambulance came and everything. What was going through your head? I know the medical staff was right there and they were taking care of everything, but that had to be a scare as a coach, knowing for a player seeing that situation, not knowing what was going to happen next.
Well, it was a grave concern, and the biggest thing that was going through my head was just the safety of my athlete. Austin took a severe hit, and it was an intentional hit, I felt like, and those are the things that we have to reduce in the game of football, and to celebrate, the big hits. And you've had in the NFL the situation with the bounty and the things, and people celebrating, big hits, and I'm just not for that. But